What's up, Portland? John Taylor, founder of PortlandRealEstateExperts.com.
And I'm Kristina Bullock, co-founder of PortlandRealEstateExperts.com.
And we are your host for the show that brings you interesting people talking about what makes them unique,
What makes Portland unique?
and why Portland is such a great place to live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of All Things Portland Podcast. I'm your host, John Taylor, along with my lovely co-host, Kristina Bullock. And how are you doing today, Kristina?
I'm doing great today. Happy to be here. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing great as well. I'm super excited about our guest, Joe Hughes. And how are you doing today, Joe?
I'm really excited to be here, talk about what I've been doing lately, and thank you for having me.
We're excited to have you. So Joe is a father, he's a good friend of ours, and he is a very successful businessman. He's owned several businesses over the years and has currently been a home builder for the last 28 years, very successfully here in Portland. But we're super excited to talk to Joe about a foundation that he started to help foster children and help better the foster care system, and it's called My Angel Marie Incorporated. And without further ado, Joe Hughes, why don't you tell us a little bit about your foundation and what you're doing?
Well, first of all, I guess I should start out the fact that I am a foster child. I was wasn't taken, actually, I was given away at 1 year old. And I have a story that's on my website called myangelmarie.org, and you can watch the whole thing. But basically, in a short synopsis of it, my mother gave us, me and several of my siblings away. We then entered the foster care system. At 1 year old, I was bounced around until I met my angel, and her name was Marie, and that's why my foundation is called My Angel Marie. She was my foster mom. And
Is that here in Oregon?
that was here in Oregon.
Okay.
Yes. And at 3 years old, like I said, I met my mom, I met my angel, and I don't even like calling her a foster mom. And I had her in my life till I was 22 years old, and she was taken. But this is something that's been on my heart for, over 10 years, to do something to give back, because I really believe that giving back is an important thing to do in life. And so, I just want her memory to be forever, and how, I'm only going to be here for so long. And I tell my friends, all my close friends know my story. And so they've been touched by her, of course, through me. But I just want foster children to be touched through me, through her. And that's why this was created, because unfortunately, while I talk about my angel, I also live with what I call the devil. That was my foster dad. And he was not kind to me. And I had to deal with an angel and a devil in my life, which I did do, because I will say this, that foster kids, it's great if you have two parents. That's the best you could ever hope for. But the fact that I had one, and it was my mom, and she was so loving and so giving and so kind and just so supportive of everything I did. I was in sports, music, and academic. I did nothing but want to please her and make her proud of me. And basically, she gave back. She was adopted when she was very small, and this was her way of giving back. So.
Can I ask, did your siblings go with you, or were you in the home?
I was split from my other siblings, and again, my story is the beginning of my story is very sad. I actually met my biological half brothers and sisters about 5 years ago.
Wow.
A very good friend of mine, Cindy Wake, who was like one of my best friends in the whole wide world. She found my family.
Wow.
And
nice.
Were they still here in Oregon as well, or were
they're
they
sprinkled all over?
Scattered.
Yeah, Oregon predominantly. But it's kind of crazy, because my other angel, which you'll see in the video, was Anne Marie, which was my sister of 6 years old when I was just one. And like I said, her amazing love not only for me, but just for all of I had another brother that was younger than me, was just born actually. It still had the umbilical cord attached to him.
Wow.
And then I had a sister that was, I believe, around 3. And then, of course, there was Anne Marie, which was 6. And our mother walked out the door and left for 4 days.
Wow.
And she took care of us.
Yeah.
And so, not to get too deep into that story, again, you can go to the website and see the whole story unfold and everything that's gone on. But that's why I created my Angel Marie, and that's what I want to do. I want to help foster children, and I want to. One of the biggest problems with foster care is the parents that are being chosen for that. They are not the people that should be caring for foster children. They're doing it for the wrong reason. They're doing it for money and not for actually loving and caring for the children. And because of that, they're being raised incorrectly. And it's just, there are a lot of beautiful foster parents, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I want to revamp the system in which they interview, because I think the interview process is where it all starts.
That was where my head was going, and what are your thoughts on how to revamp that, or how do you correct that system? Where do you begin?
I kind of want to be a little sneaky about it, because I don't want to, for anyone listening that may want to be a foster parent that doesn't have it in their heart in the right place.
Got it.
But let's just say the interview process, the very first question they ask is, why do you want to be a foster parent? And I think that's ridiculous. That should be the last question. The questions prior to that should be character questions, because that's when you find out who a person really is.
Right.
So you understand the character of the person, because let's face it, you can only lie so much, and you can only give out the right answers. But when you really give somebody a format to just talk about the character of who they are, then you'll, if you're smart and you know what you're looking for, and then at the very end, you ask the question, why do you want to be a foster parent? And the reason I say do that process is because they're going to give you that bulletproof, this is, they practice this, they've written it down, right?
They already know the answers.
They know what you want to hear.
The correct way to answer it.
Yes.
What they feel is the correct answer.
They're going to give you what you want to hear, and it's going to be contradictory to your character. So there you go. And
Answer the character questions.
The character is who you set up first. The big question, which is, why do you want to be one? Because that is ultimately, truly, but anyone can say, because I want to, I love children, and I just,
Right, you want to help.
I want to help, but
it's a painful thought to think
pretty,
about.
Pretty vague. Like
it's pretty, it's just like anyone can answer that question, right?
So what is the process now? Like how are people getting into being foster parents?
Well, they apply.
I will say, I went online. I don't even know if you know this, but it is something that I looked at probably a couple years ago, just to see what that, because there is a sincere, it breaks my heart being a mother to know that there's so many children that don't have that love that we all need and desire
For sure.
to grow up healthy. And knowing that you're loved and cared for by somebody, if it's not your biological parents, at least there's someone. And so with that thought in mind, I went on websites trying to figure out what that process looks like, and could I see myself doing something like this? It's a big, and to be quite honest, I shut the laptop, and that's a little scary, it's somebody's life. So I guess for me, someone who's been interested, is there things that can be done to help an organization like yours where, dipping your toes in the water, seeing what that looks like before, going for the application process, because that's a big step and a big.
Right, and that's something that
I do that?
Right, that's something my organization would definitely will be wanting to open up to that, to someone like you, and have you come in and talk to someone like me, talk to kids that have been foster children,
right,
and just see where your heart lies and see what the situation is. Because quite honestly, when you take a child out of a bad situation such as mine, they're going to need what? The same amount of love as when you're born and you, oh my gosh, this is like you have a son,
right?
You guys, and I met your son, and he's amazing, but I know both of you, and I know where that amazing comes from.
Right.
I have children, I have grandchildren. I broke the chain. I have amazing children. They're very successful in their own ways. My youngest daughter just became an RN nurse. My oldest daughter is a very successful Allstate agent. They both have children. My grandchildren, you look at the pictures of them, that tells a million words. The smiles on their faces is just unbelievable. And you know why that is? Because they're loved and cared for every day.
Yeah, so how do we tie that back to what you're trying to do here, I guess?
Well,
where can people who are curious about helping?
Well, we want to, first of all, make sure they understand what's needed, what the commitment is. It's not like getting a dog or a cat, right? It's a human being.
Right.
Yeah.
So you want to
Big difference.
So you want to make sure that, but there's also there's things out there like the big brothers, the big sisters.
Yeah.
There's things you can dip your toes per se and see how that feels and all other stuff like that. So, but quite honestly, it's something that's just someone has to really want to do. And again, if they're worried about it, we would bring them in and talk with them, counsel with them, and just get a feel.
Break
And
it down.
and be honest with them. I don't think you're really probably ready to do it. Because let's face it, with our busy lives that we do in the world today, some people just would not have the time to
Right.
get.
Do you feel like you have to, not extra love, but I feel like there's probably some repair that needs to happen for those children as well. My sister has adopted, so there is some understanding there in what needs to happen to show children that we're going to stick around, we're going to stay here, we got your back, because there's a lot of mistrust there starting up, and so.
Yeah, and foster care isn't permanent. A lot of it leads to adoption, but it's a good start. And the thing of it is just you want to make sure that child knows every single day that you're in this for the right reason, because you genuinely care about them, and that's the key.
So is part of the reform or making it better, I guess, because you had this angel and then you had this devil, and so somehow they got you into they tricked the system by telling them what they wanted to hear. So how do you monitor that, like after you're already in their care, and how do we quickly identify the devils and get rid of them?
Right. Well, again, because I was a child during this process, so I can only surmise what happened. But I did get a lot of background information from one of my mom's very good friends. And honestly, I think what they do is they gravitate toward the one that shows the most love, which would be my mom, and she was the one reaching out. So I got a feeling my foster dad probably just sat there and didn't say a whole lot.
Right.
So the system would, I think that's, you need to, so hey, I'm not going to give out names because, again, I have a foster brother and sister. So, because I love them, I'm not going to disclose that. But I would say that they need to be more questioning both parties if there happens to be two. And I don't believe that that's, in the world we live today, I think one parent, like I said, my mom, even though I had him in my life, she was so amazing that I gravitated toward that. Not everybody does. I had a constitution. The best story I had when I met Anne Marie, and it says it on the video. So my mom walked out the door. I was 1 year old. I was too big for my 6-year-old sister to pick up. So she had to leave me in the playpen for 4 days, changing my diaper and feeding me. And she said, "Joey, you never cried." She goes, "We didn't know what the hell was up with you." She goes, "How you weren't needy." She goes, "But for some reason you just weren't." And it brought tears to my eyes because that's the way I've lived my whole life. I always gravitate toward the positive. The negative's there, but it doesn't mean you have to gravitate toward it.
Right.
It does hinder you, definitely. There's times, when I doubt myself, and I know that's where it comes from.
Yeah, where it stems from.
But then I looked to my mom. I said, "Wait a minute, your mom didn't raise a quitter."
Right.
Boo-hoo.
Nice.
Even in real estate, we all know 10 years ago what happened.
Yep.
And with the pandemic, that
What's happening,
same thing too. Real estate is kind of a roller coaster. So you just have to look toward the positive. So it's just, it's just the process of getting the right people. And again, I think the old way of, making sure it's a mother, father, again, a lot of times now 2 women, 2 men,
Right.
Again, as long as they've been correctly interviewed and the process has been done correctly, and it's the aftercare. That's, I think, the biggest problem. And I think one of the problems is too, because there's so many, it's an overwhelming system that we need to work on trying to fix it, because what we're doing is we're just creating more future foster children.
Right, that's a good point. on
Because
where-
as people grow up, like me, myself, I grew up to make sure all my children knew that I loved them. I was always there for them. I never missed an event. I'm still there today. They're grown, but they're still my children. And but where did I get that from? My mom.
Right.
She never missed one of my events. Never. And you don't even know what that's like. So, yeah.
This guy does.
Yeah, my mom never missed an event. And it's
Yeah.
crazy
Oh.
because
That's
she had
a-
3 kids and
that's a
she's
very
in real
powerful
estate,
thing.
and it's like I don't know how they do it, and they're super moms, that's what
I
that's
own
just what
two.
they do.
Yeah, I own
So,
2 companies when my son was growing up, and I coached his baseball
Yeah.
and basketball. So
Yeah.
you just do it.
It makes a huge difference, that
Yeah.
love and attention, and so
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, do you have any other questions for Joe?
I don't right
think-
now. I think we're gonna take a break.
Yeah, we can take a quick break here, and we're going to hear from one of our sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to jump into the infamous Portland package.
You want the absolute best for yourself, and you want it to be easy. That's why we created Green 85. It helps with detoxifying the body gently. We're proud it's chemical-free, unlike almost all other supplements you'll find. Bottom line, Green 85 will get you healthier. We look forward to hearing what Green 85 did for you.
To get this product and our other amazing products, go to chemicalfreebody.com. That's chemicalfreebody.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Again, I'm your host, John Taylor, here with Kristina Bullock, our co-host, and our amazing guest, Joe Hughes. And we are going to talk about the infamous Portland package today. So just a little background, if you don't know, the Portland package is basically a package for bringing an out-of-town guest into Portland. What are the top 3 things that you're going to do to really highlight Portland that you love to show it off? So
The wow of Portland in your
what's going to
eyes.
really wow your guest right
Yeah.
out of the gate with 3 things. And so, Joe's going to tell us what his top 3 things would be to really wow those out-of-town guests and let our
And
our
Portland
users
has a
that
lot
don't
of
know-
options.
Our listeners that don't know Portland, it'll tell them a little bit about where they can go.
Well,
downtown.
as all us Portland people know, we are very unique because we're so close to the mountains, we're so close to the oceans. And then we have this, 7th wonder of the world, kind of the gorge. I mean, it's like I've been to a lot of cities in the U.S. and even Canada, and I'm a very social person, and so I just talk to people randomly, and they all bring up the gorge, and I'm like, yeah, it's as spectacular as you're all thinking it is.
Right.
And it's definitely a place to go to. I've done the hike, Multnomah Falls hike, many a times, and I'm not really a super hiker, but it's one place I do like to take people and do like to just going. And just the drive is just so amazing, and
It doesn't disappoint, that's for sure.
no, it's amazing, and
It
like I
wows me every time. I've lived here
Grew
my
up here.
whole life, and every time I drive down the gorge, I'm just like, wow, why don't I do this more often? That's-
I just, like I was stationed in Denver, Colorado in the Air Force when I was a kid, and one of my stories in the gorge is coming back, and I had a 72 Challenger and no
Nice.
cruise control, and I just been,
Hair blowing in the wind.
well, no top down,
Just kidding.
just the moonroof, but I drove almost straight back from when I got out of, and I remember coming up the gorge and that wind. And I was a much slighter person. I weighed about $150 back then. So I was wondering if I was going to make it home.
Yeah.
Because that beautiful wind was not so beautiful
Yeah.
at that point. But yeah, I just, the gorge is awesome. I love taking people there. I love going there. You know, being so close to the ocean is another really great thing.
Yep.
To go there. It's not, I wouldn't say it's one of my top places to go just because I like a little warmer environment, but it is beautiful.
It's worth the drive out
Yeah,
there.
it's
to
good
show
for a
some-
romantic date, and now the casino's there, so you can make it a fun romantic date, or
Yep.
or just a fun date. Or
Yeah,
just a-
which beach is your favorite?
you know, honestly, I've loved Cannon Beach ever since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because of the big rock, and you know, I love that. Just
Yeah.
I love Seaside because it's a fun little all the little
I do like
shops.
Seaside as well.
So I like that for a whole different reason. So, you know, quite honestly, they just have all their unique little, you know, Lincoln City and Newport. You know, those are a great little place, and that's where the casino is there too. So, you know, that's
Yeah, you
always
got the
fun.
casino, but you're absolutely right. They're all great. They all have their different ambiance. So
Yeah, so I mean, and Mount Hood, you know, I've skied, I've snowboarded, and so Mount Hood is also just a great, and it's so close, you know, so we're just really fortunate to have all of those things in such a quick getaway. So definitely all of those things, and when I have people come into town, it just kind of depends on the time of year it is.
Time of year and
Yeah.
probably the person as
Sure.
well,
Yeah,
right?
like,
You
you
gotta
know, Mount-
cater to.
Yeah, Mount Hood isn't quite as fun when you go, there's no snow. You know?
well, in the gorge, you know, in the winter it might be icy. You're not taking them. You're not
You're
getting
not taking them there
you're
either.
Not getting them in the Multnomah
What's the,
Falls package. And
Alpine sledding place during the summertime that you can take if there's
Oh,
kids
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
That's
that's
pretty
Ski-
fun.
Here's my ski bowl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
a great little setup there for
yeah, that's a lot of
summertime.
fun.
Yep, and they're smart that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I know one of the people that owns part of it, and they did a really smart job by creating something for the summer, because we all know in the wintertime, a lot of times they get the snow last and they lose the snow first.
Right.
So
They had to create
they
something.
had to create
Yeah,
something
and they
that's a
did a
little
great
bit
job.
more.
It's
Yeah,
really-
we have
it's a-
fun.
It's a lot of fun.
We've taken our son there and it was a blast.
Yeah.
Did the bungee jumping and the zip line and the
Go-karts.
alpine slide and
Alpine
go-karts.
slide,
Yeah,
Yeah,
good times
they're
there.
all fun.
Yep.
You know, and then of course there's all our restaurants, you know.
Yeah.
So my absolute favorite, and I've been to just about every steakhouse in this town, is Ruth Chris. And I know it's a chain restaurant, what do you want it to call it, steakhouse, but I will say they're the most consistent. They remember your name, even the.
So it's the people there as well.
It's
Yeah,
so,
everything.
it's so customer friendly oriented. I mean, the bartender, you know, even if you're not having a drink that night, all of a sudden the bartender's like, I'm not drinking tonight. he's like, oh.
Yes,
well,
you are.
like, apparently I am.
I wasn't drinking tonight.
Yeah, but the great thing is he'll go, oh, well, you know what, that's on the house, Joe.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, he just.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, he just assumed.
Right.
You know, it's a great go-to place for Blazer games. I've been a Blazer seat holder now for close to 2 decades. So, and I've been going since clear back in the 90s. So,
Nice.
yeah, I have a lot of friends. Jerome Kersey was one of my dear friends. But I knew so many. I knew the Brazilian guys, Rudy, and I can't think of the other gentleman's name. You know, and, you know, David Lucas, his father, Maurice Lucas, you know, I got to watch Maurice Lucas, and then just being out in the social environment, I met David and his brother and his sister, and oh my gosh, they're amazing human beings. And,
Remember
you
we
know,
saw Jerome at, was it Alamir?
Alamir,
He was out-
yeah.
that was
another,
fun.
Another great Portland restaurant.
That's another good-
that is Jerome's go-to place.
Yeah.
Or should I say
Jerome,
was, unfortunately.
Yeah, it
was,
was.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just, you know, this town is, you know, we all love our Blazers.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you
Wait.
don't, you're not from here.
True.
or you've got your time to go.
We were a little
They're
starstruck
Lakers
that
fans,
night.
Lakers fans, Seattle Supersonics back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I've got to, you know, that's a cool thing about our town. No,
Yeah.
It's too big. It's like, I'm going up the elevator at the Nines, and, you know, I met a world peace, you know.
Oh, yeah?
Remember when we had my friend Bree in town and we were at El Gaucho, another great steak restaurant here in
Yeah.
town. Who was all there that night? It was like,
Oh, it was when they were doing
that
some
was
sort of a
kind of a
a deal
starstruck
for
Blazer
the,
moment.
the 90s, the Drexler.
Oh, yeah.
So Drexler,
Porter.
Duckworth, Porter, Buck Williams,
I knew you'd know
Jerome,
all of them.
all of those guys were
Rob-
there having
Rob,
a dinner.
yeah.
It was
Cliff,
either before or
Cliff
after
was
the
probably
game.
there too.
Cliff.
Yep.
Actually, it was the day before the deal. They had a game the next day, and they did a big. They honored them somehow. I forget what it was for.
Yeah,
They
we were all a
there.
little starstruck.
And it was, and I
All
think
of them sitting
Duckworth
there.
passed away not too long after that. So
Yeah,
it was,
unfortunately.
yeah, that was
I got to meet him a few times too, and
just a super nice guy. Like yeah.
all those guys.
Yeah.
Like I said, they were the epitome of what you would like to see as professional athletes, as far as that goes.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
yeah, in fact, at El Gaucho's, Maurice Lucas was sitting there at the bar, and I had a conversation with him, and told him I knew his sons and his daughter, and it was a really great conversation. So it was really neat and
Down to earth, right?
Yeah.
Kind of all the players.
a few months.
Yeah,
I
it
would
seems
say.
like they're all very approachable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, a few months before Jerome passed, I was at a wheel and tire place. I was helping my daughter. She had bought a Jeep and she wants wheels and tires. And here came in Jerome Kersey, and I'm like, I looked at my daughter and said, "Daughter, I want to introduce you to royalty here." and here's Jerome. He's doing this. He goes.
Please stop.
He goes. And her name, my daughter's name was Nikki. He goes, Nikki, no, your father's royalty. That's how nice he was. He's like, no, your father's royalty in this town. I'm just like.
Speaking of,
I'm like, okay, you're being way too kind.
I remember when you used to do the Pearl Laps when I first moved into town. Speaking of royalty,
Well,
who's that?
Oh Lord.
Driving by in the fancy car.
Yeah. Yeah.
First
We
Thursday
all had a lot
nights.
of fun back in the.
Oh yeah, first Thursday. That's
first
Yep.
Thursday.
good way to bring up something that's
Yeah,
that's a
that's
very summer fun event.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great event, and I love when people come to town and that happens to be going on.
Yep.
Because it's a great like melting pot of all the ages, which
Right.
is what I love.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. I still to this day look around looking, where's Joe?
Ah.
Where's Joe in his sports car?
Oh,
If I go
And they
out.
still actually have some art as
Yeah.
part of that.
well,
Which is what it started out to be.
I look for Fire Engine 3 and Joe Hughes
Oh Lord.
doing their first Thursday laps.
Well, parking isn't the easiest.
No.
And I do prefer to not have to walk. I
do
get my
too.
workout at the gym. Walking isn't one of my
You do
favorites.
3 laps just to do them, and then you have.
You gotta figure out where you
wanna park.
Actual parking
Where
spot.
is everybody
getting
and where am
told
I
on
parking?
I didn't realize I'm gonna get all this.
Hey, we gotta have a little fun with it, right?
And you don't hear me denying it, so there must be some truth in that.
Yeah, no, those
So-
are good
so
times.
We love our Blazers. Do you watch any of the other sports teams? Timbers?
Oh, I've been to the Winterhawks. Yeah. Dauber, he used to play for the Winterhawks. I got
Dauber,
the Dauber.
yeah.
The Dauber.
He
He's a real estate agent.
yeah, I met him at a party one night, and we just became friends. And he took me to a game, and oh my gosh, that's the way you go to a game with
I
that
bet,
guy.
with the Dauber,
Because
yeah.
he's so well liked and loved and known, and we sitting right there. And man, I've watched it on TV, and it's nothing like it is live. Like
Yeah,
I can
hockey
watch.
live is way
I can
better.
watch basketball on TV and in person, and
Feel like I need to do
them
it
both.
now.
You definitely need to
Yeah.
do it. I'm telling you, it is. All the little semantics they have, like we're sitting there and toward the end of the game, and I remember what team we were playing. We were kicking their butt, and all of a sudden everybody had their keys out and they're rattling their keys. And I go, Dauber, what the hell are they doing? He goes, telling to get the bus warmed up. Time to go home.
Didn't know that one. Man.
They have all these little things that they do, and it cracked me up. And I mean, it was, it's like the wave, but not. Every sport has the wave, or used to have the wave, should I say? But this
You need to bring the wave back.
Yeah,
They
what's
have-
happened to the wave? Where did the wave go?
so 90s.
Yeah.
No, hard even to get a lot. As I've gotten older and gotten better seats, I sit down lower. And I remember sitting up in the higher seats, in the 200s and stuff. And I'm like, man, if I had those seats, I'd be down there. What's wrong with those people, right?
Right.
And I'm still the same guy. I'm down there, but to get people up off their butts down there so much. It's, you know, because so much of that's corporate. But oh man,
True.
but I'm that guy. I'm
People
the guy.
gotta mind their
No, I'm the guy that's like, come
manners
on, what are you
down there
doing?
too much.
I go, I don't care if you pay for those seats. Get your butt up out of the
Yep.
seat. Let's go.
Yeah, you gotta get them all up, right?
And it's funny, I do will people to do it.
Yeah.
I do. I shame them into it, but
Whatever tactic.
some of
you
them just
need.
look at me, like, who's the crazy dude? And I'm like, I'm fine with that because I'm a true
Wear
fan.
them down.
No, I'm a true fan.
Eventually they'll get up.
Yeah, well, you know, let's face it, it's an entertainment as well as it's a sport. And,
Absolutely.
And I was a professional drummer when I was a kid, and the roar of the crowd makes you play harder,
Right.
makes you work harder.
Endorphins kick in.
All of
the
that,
good stuff.
all the good stuff, yeah.
Mhm.
And so, you know, to sit there and just go, okay,
Which
this
will
is
be
great.
interesting to see how, if they finish the season like they're talking about, with no fans and all that.
I can't even imagine
It's
being
just-
those poor guys.
That's, yeah.
I mean, I hope they don't pump in the fake stuff though.
Right.
That's the one thing I love about Portland. We don't pump in fake crap. Like you have ever watched the games on other towns? I don't know. I can't even think of which one, like Houston and stuff. But they'll have the
Like fake cheers
they're
or?
just like the different things that you say at basketball games. I can't even think of any right now. But the guy over the intercom saying that where we're saying those things.
Right.
You know, like "Let's go Blazers," you know,
Right.
Yeah,
and
you
stuff
don't
like
have
that.
to, yeah.
And they'll be like,
Manufacture that at a Blazer.
yeah,
game.
like they'll manufacture maybe one time, and then everyone takes it
Everyone
up.
takes over.
But at these other arenas, they're just manufacturing the whole thing, and it's like you can just stop.
I know the Blazers, our fans are known as, you know, one of the louder and rowdier ones in the league. So
And-
they're always fun to go to. They're a blast.
Yeah,
I love
well,
going to
and
Blazer
we,
games.
you know, we truly love our Blazers. So let's just face it. you
What
know.
about Timbers? You go to any Timbers games?
I've been to one, and you know, nothing against it at all. It's just something I never really got into. Didn't really have much of it growing up, so I never really got the bug.
Yeah.
But I do, you know, I have friends that are Timber fans, and I think it's great. I think whatever sport you like, I think it's
That
good.
new remodel is really nice too. They did
Well,
a
they
great
just
job.
pack them, man. You got to be, if you're going to go to a Timbers game, you have to go right in the middle of the Timbers Army.
Okay.
Unless you're really into like if you know the game and stuff. But I'm like you. I don't know the game that well.
I just like to
But-
see more scoring. Let's just face it.
Yeah, but if you're right in the middle of the army, like it's not even about the game anymore. You're waving flags or you're dodging a flag. Chainsaws are going off. Sawdust is flying. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And and you're singing the whole time. Nobody sits
Oh,
in the
wow.
Timbers Army. Nobody.
I feel like you'd enjoy
You'd
it there.
you're really shamed into standing up there. Like you look
You
like
can't
Oh,
sit
I'm
down
usually-
or stop yelling.
I'm easily. yeah.
You'd love it. Getting right in the middle of the Timber Army, and you'll appreciate the game.
I don't think there's much negativity too, because just being there that one time I noticed, because I'm always looking around, I'm always checking out my environment, you know, and I'd never really seen any negativity, you know, like you do in baseball, you hear about fights, and football, you hear about these
Right.
fights,
Right.
but I never just didn't really see it, and like you said, they pack them in.
They do pack them in. It's
So-
fun. I enjoy it.
I just don't think there's any visitors there. That's the problem. That's why.
Sounders,
It's a good time.
When the Sounders come to town, the Seattle team,
That one.
it can get a little dicey. with
Okay.
Those, but other than that, I think you're right. There's no other visitors. It's all, and there's barely enough room for any of the Sounders when they come into town. So,
Well, that's just it.
I mean, the Timbers, they pack them in, and those fans are passionate about it for sure. So
Yeah.
they're fun to go to.
Yep. Well, I think we've covered the Portland package
Yeah, I
pretty
think we've
nicely.
covered a lot of fun stuff in Portland, right?
Yeah, like I
Anything
said.
else you can think of that we didn't chat about?
Honestly, you know, other than our waterways too, you know, boating and stuff like that. I've
Yeah.
had boats over the years, and it's true what they say. You know, the boater's favorite day is the day they buy the boat and the day they sell the boat. So, I'm not gonna lie to you about that. We just don't have enough sun.
We don't have enough sun.
That's the one
Yes.
part.
Great to know somebody that owns a boat.
You know, great to have a boat friend.
And if you're smart, you bring enough beer. You bring beer. You don't want to be the guy that doesn't bring beer, and you help clean the boat when you're done, and you get invited back every time.
Or if you don't like to clean the boat, just give some cash.
Right.
Yeah.
Contribute to the
Fill the
gas.
Tank.
Nothing says love like a 20.
When I had a boat, and it was like gas was through the roof,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like 100-gallon tank. And my buddy didn't know that, so he threw his credit card down and filled it. It was $400 to fill it up. He was like,
Who was
"Oh."
that again?
shoot, I forget who.
I do remember
was
that
it?
day.
I forget too. But
I had the
he was
opposite.
not happy.
No.
I had the opposite end of the story, right? I had a
John
boat-
would allow that to happen, though.
I had a
would
boat
say.
that had twin engines,
Yeah.
and this guy hands me $10 for gas, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I walked over. You know I'm a smart ass. I turned the engine on. I turned it off, and I go, "Thanks for $10."
Well, on that note, yeah, that's pretty funny, actually. Those boats were definitely, you can count the money as they fly by. So,
True that.
Well, thank you so much for all those lovely suggestions
Yeah,
on
those were
Portland, and
good.
those were fun. And we're gonna take another short break here and hear from another sponsor. And when we come back, we're gonna jump into Portland real estate and talk some homes for a bit with Joe.
Have you ever thought about flipping your own home?
Need to sell but cannot afford the repairs? We have the solution for you.
With our Flip Your Own Home program, we can help you maximize your full potential profit.
For a free, no obligation 15-minute consultation, call or text us today at 503-382-7798.
Welcome back, everyone. And again, I'm John Taylor, your host, along with our lovely co-host, Kristina Bullock. And we are back with our fun guest, Joe Hughes here. We've been having a lot of fun today so far. So we're going to talk a little bit about homes and real estate in the Portland metro area. And Joe, as we mentioned earlier, has been a home builder for 28 years now. Him and I started about the same time. I got licensed in real estate. He became a home builder, and I've had the pleasure of working with you for a number of years. So how do you see the Portland real estate market right now? There's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of turmoil in the world and in our city in particular right now. So
Yeah, it's been kind of a bit of a rocky road through this because of course, with the pandemic. Just dealing with like the city of Portland, for instance, because that's where I've built most recently, and just going through getting an inspection done or just being able to talk to somebody is like so impossible. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I have a lot of backdoor phone numbers, and even those aren't getting responses.
Yeah.
When I believe in any business, killing people with kindness is the number one asset. And that's how I get a lot of these guys to respond to me, even per se they don't really want to respond at a time like this. But I've done a big change. I've been a home builder, like I said, building houses from the ground up since '92. I love doing it. I love taking a piece of land, and I just have a God gift of a vision of knowing what particular type of home to put on that piece of property to make it fit properly in the community and look just nice on that particular piece of dirt.
yeah.
And it's gone well, but it's definitely been rough in the last year or so, a little bit longer. But dirt is super expensive. It's hard to come
Right.
by. Permits have gone through the roof, and at the end of the day, you've got to account for all of that and try to make a profit at the end. So I've actually done a little bit more in the remodel as of late. Because I am a people person, I actually enjoy working with people. Many of the people that have bought my homes, I'm very good friends with to this day.
That says a lot.
Yeah, I built one gentleman 3 homes over the course of, the time frame I've known him. He now lives in Florida. I've gone and seen him twice. We're just good buddies still to this day. And I like having these personal relationships with people that, love what I created, and not in an egotistical way, just in a caring, a really appreciative way.
Right.
And so, but with that said, like I said, I've gotten into doing some more remodel stuff, which is kind of a cool new venture. But again, with not the ability to build on property because we just don't have it here, and I'm not really willing to want to leave Portland. I have children here, I have grandchildren here, where my family's here. I got so many friends
So many
here.
roots here.
So
Right.
you kind of have to just reinvent, yourself
What you're doing,
what
yeah.
you're doing. And so I've just been getting into that, and I'm tying it in that with my Angel Marie. So what I'm going to do, what I've committed to doing is on all of my projects, I'm going to give 5% of my projects to Angel Marie and helping that cause. And that's something that, you know, even though I'm out talking to people about, you know, their remodel, somehow I try to sneak that Angel Marie in there, and I do it because so many people are unaware
Right.
of the problem.
I agree.
And so I just think they're just kind of using it as a hand-in-hand situation.
I think that's great, and I'm glad you brought that up, because, you know, we're always looking for different ways to give back in our business as well. So
Yeah.
that's something we can talk about and
Absolutely.
and help give back, and, you know, from each one of our sales and closings and
Yeah.
stuff to help with your foundation. So
Well, it's just,
I think that's
you want to know when you're giving something to a cause, you want to know that it's genuine. And like I said, if you go to myangelmarie.org and/or .com, I forget the dot, because it actually pops up both ways. The guy that set my website up is pretty smart.
Yeah.
So he's kind of, you know, kind
Right.
of dummy proof.
Yep.
But you go to myangelmarie.org and it tells a story. You can do the donating, but at one time I was actually wanting to donate. When I first started this, I think I told you this, I wanted to donate one of my houses. And
Yeah.
came to find out that you can't do that, which was kind of a crusher. Because
that was disappointing.
the maximum donation can be for an object is $100,000, and you have to be in, you know, an organization of a period of time to do it. So it was a little disappointing, but, you know, again, there's other ways to do it.
Right.
So, you know, doing the remodel thing, and if I build a house, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give, you know, 5% toward that. But you know, there is some pockets in Portland that are still doing pretty well. But I would say overall, I mean, I'm able to get contractors much easier, and that tells me a lot.
Right.
When they're available, and they, you know, you need to get them to do a bid. But I'm just I love creating, and in remodel industry, I'm recreating, and I like doing that too.
Yeah, your work is gonna stay there for a long time, and
Yeah, you're creating a new kitchen for somebody that's, you know, for instance, that's had this old kitchen that's probably been eating at them for a number of years, and then you get to come in and create a new beautiful kitchen for them, and
I
a
use
better
all
environment for them, and improve the value of their home as well.
Exactly, and you know, a lot of people can't afford to, or they don't want to leave where they like where they live. They just want it, you know, updated a little bit. So, and I use all the best people. You know, I don't use handyman
no,
contractors.
your houses are gonna stand the test of time.
Yeah.
You know, they're beautiful, well built.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
My remodeling is the same way though. I want those things to be stand out, and I want people to, when they come, to go, wow, who did this? You know,
Right.
It's because so many, I've over the years, you know, not being in the remodel, but seeing the remodels. You know, I have a ton of friends. You go into homes, and you're just looking and going, wow, that was done really average.
Not up to par.
Yeah,
Right.
And I think a lot of people in that industry feel like, well, it's not brand new anyway. But I have a brand new mentality. So coming from the new home,
Yeah,
so I want
absolutely.
that. I want to make that, whatever it is, look brand new.
Right.
And so that's just, I can't get that out of my blood, and I don't want to get it out of my blood. So, but it's tough. But you know, again, it's not, you know, it's just, you have to recreate, you have to work a little harder. You know, it's been challenging as well because people don't want you to go into their homes, which is completely understandable. Everyone has their own take on the pandemic. I certainly have mine, but I don't press mine on other people.
Right.
I'm a respectful person, and I feel like, you know, you need to go to whatever level that person needs to feel comfortable, whatever that is. And we all have a different level. And, you know, I'm not here in this forum to give my opinion on all of that stuff. I'm just here to say, as a community, I think we need to respect each other. I think we need to love each other. And I think the most important thing is right now what we can do is find that kindness in you and really play off that. The little things that bug you in a normal society, forget about it.
Right. No, I agree. Thank you for saying that, because
Yeah, well, it's, you know, just
feels like a lot of people have forgotten We're all not gonna think the same exact way.
I'm one of those drivers, you know, I can't stand those people in the left lane. But during this time period, I've just kind of slowed my roll, and I'm not letting those things get to me, because there's
Right.
so much more important things that we're having to deal with.
Exactly.
You know.
There's a lot more important things
The shift
to
that's
yell
happening
than to
right
yell
now.
at somebody
Yep.
that is going slow in the fast lane.
And you
right?
don't even know what their day is like and what their life is like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
And that might just be what puts them over the edge, and who wants to be that person?
Mm-hmm.
So why both of you are really good friends of mine is for a reason. You guys are, you know, kind-hearted people, you're social people, you love people, and that's the kind of people I generate and you know, toward,
Thank you.
gravitate toward, and it's just, you know, people like us need to reach out to those other people that may not be quite like that. And again, I think we just need to be more caring, just be, you know, be more jovial, be, you know,
Right.
be more friendly, and just
Absolutely.
and be kind. You know, again, if someone says something like, "Hey, why aren't you wearing your mask?" You know, and you're walking down the street, say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Let me make sure I'm 6 feet away from you. I apologize."
Or I have it right here and I'll put it on. I
Or,
mean, I
or just,
forgot.
yeah, I always carry mine with me. I don't always wear mine, but I always have it available. So-
For someone that
We did
might be
just do
sensitive.
a home inspection or a walkthrough where we were all masked up.
Yep.
And the
Yeah.
client loved it. And that's, you know, what you just said is what I love working with you. That's why I love working with you, because you're that way with me. And it's a stressful business for everybody, and we have to work as a team, but you're that way with the clients, which is the most important. And you make the clients feel very good because you're kind and gentle, and, you know, you accommodate what they want. And it's not easy being a home builder either. It's, you
No,
know,
it's a tough, I
So-
will say I have the same opinion of working with you and knowing you, is that you showing up, you know, there's some builders, you're like, I don't want them to go meet the client.
Oh, that's
But
a
you
friend.
show up, you know your work is good, and you care. So
Mhm.
that's right there is, you're ahead of the game.
yeah, that's.
You know, you're there to
100%.
make sure that buyer, and that's why people turn into friends with you as well, that buy your home, so.
well, I do answer my phone, even though
Mhm.
when the deal closes. We just, you know, just recently sold that house over in North Portland, and
Yeah,
and becoming really a good friend to Heidi. She lives here, her family's in LA,
Mhm.
and so she just had a situation where somebody ran over the sprinkler head and
Whoops.
and busted it, and I looked at it and said, yeah, and I go, but I went ahead and helped her. We got it. I fixed it for her,
yeah.
you know, and clearly, you know,
After closing. Yeah.
after closing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
And
that's,
a lot of builders wouldn't do that.
Oh,
That's
no.
not a warranty item. You did that. You
Right.
said, fix it yourself, and
Yeah.
that's just not. And that's why you've been in the business successful for 28 years, so.
Yeah. If someone was interested in remodeling, how would they find you?
Well, call me direct. I'm old school, so my number is 971-563-7509. You can also go to homeswstyle.co, not .com. Kind of
Okay.
a new thing, so .co. That's my website. But again, just my company's called Homes with Style. I'm located in Clackamas, so you can find me that way too if you don't get that phone number down.
Okay,
But, and of course, through you guys as well, so.
absolutely.
And the one thing I do when people refer me, I already walk into the door thinking, you know, I want to be a rock star, but I take very, even more care because I have somebody recommending. So I want to make sure you guys look like rock stars for recommending me. That's important to me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We
That means a
appreciate
lot,
that,
and we,
and we do the same for you, so.
Yeah.
So about the foundation, before we wrap up here, you want to just give us kind of 3 bullet points on, you know,
Well, like I said,
how we can help and how we find you again, and,
well, myangelmarie.org.
yeah.
And everything's on there for donations and like that. And I pride myself and will continue to pride myself in being not one of those companies that just gives the 10%. You know, that's not what I'm in this for. There is a lot of cost for doing this, but at the same time, the money really needs to be spent on the problem. So the problem is the foster parents that are being chosen, the care that's being given after, and just for the kids that just, you know, have to leave for like the situations where foster kids leave the home.
Yeah, it's
because they're-
generally in the middle of the night or
and
something,
they're on the
right?
street, and so I want to create a thing called My Angel Marie House,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to be a place for these people to go, a safe haven to go. That's my big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to take this from Portland, and then I want to expand this. This needs to be U.S. wide, and it needs to be worldwide. It needs to be a way of thinking.
I agree. I like what you're doing, and I'm happy
Yeah.
to have heard more about it today.
Thank you so much for coming here today and talking to us about that, and thank you for doing that. That's just an awesome thing that you're doing.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we
Appreciate
need
it.
more
Yeah,
people actually
absolutely.
doing, so yes, thank you
Giving back
for
is the key.
being the doer
Absolutely.
in this. So you know how to find Joe, myangelmarie.org, and Homes with Style is the company name in Clackamas if you're interested in remodeling or construction. And that's, I think, all for today. All things Portland.
Always.
Yeah,
Thank you for
and,
listening. We
Until
appreciate
next
it.
time.
Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you.